Good afternoon, everybody. Spanky here. Hope you're all having a Merry Christmas and hope you all have a Happy New Year. So, today we're going live and we're going to talk about some things that are on my mind, mainly about employment and why companies are failing. And just before I start this, I want to make it very clear this is just my view. I notice in today's generation, companies are ran much differently. And I know there's a lot of reasons why companies are failing. And I'm not just focused on one thing. I'm actually focused on many things. So to start with, some of the main, I broke it down to about 7 main points of why people quietly quit. Or they call it quiet quitting, I should say. Some people complain about unfairness. Sometimes people leave because the money's just not there. So to start with, I come up with some key reasons on why employee retention is so difficult for a company. First off, let's start with compensation issues. Not offering salaries or that share competitive in the market can lead employees to better pay elsewhere. You know, if your company, if you don't keep track of your competition's pay, that probably means you got to look at your sales revenue. We got to work on the sales. You got to see where you're going wrong, reevaluate it, and see what we can do to get our sales up. Once you get your sales up, then you got to look at your employee standpoint, your people in your factory. Are we offering them decent pay? Will our competitors pay more to these employees? How can we get these employees to stay here? You know, so often the employees, you know, if you don't give them decent pay, they're going to leave. If they pay a high rate for their insurance, they're going to leave. If you don't offer them a 401k that matches with the decent price, more than likely they're going to leave. The next, limited career advancement. Limited career advancement is a big thing for me. So often a company will promise, hey, come work for us because we can guarantee you're going to advance the ladder fast. If you're an overachiever and you're a hard worker, we'll advance. But so often that's a false promise. If you are going to be that company that's going to say, here, we'll give you a advancement fast, and make promises you can't back up, don't make those promises. Just don't. It's false advertisement, for one. For two, it gives an employee very false hope. Poor management. Ineffective leadership, man. Ineffective leadership and a lack of support from a manager can go, and poor communication from a manager. So often, I see managers that will tell employees what they think they want to hear instead of telling them the facts. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, if you're a good manager, be as truthful with that employee as you can. Don't bullshit them around. Don't sugarcoat things. If there's problems going on at work, deal with them. Deal them directly. When there's an issue at work, deal with it directly, right with that source. You know, that being straightforward and upfront with your employees goes a lot farther than you think. If we are going to be short on product to get out, if their sales just ain't up high enough, be honest with them. If you see a layoff coming, be honest with them. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I see there's an opportunity for an advancement to a different department, if you don't think that person's the right fit, tell them. Don't sit there and say, oh, we'll look into it. Or let me talk to so-and-so and see where we can go with this. If they're not a right fit, just directly tell them. It's that simple. It might hurt that person, but at least they know you were honest with them. Work-life imbalance. That's another one for me. That goes two ways, okay? Some companies are short-staffed, and they work people to the bone. And if you're short-staffed like that and somebody needs to get off, and they're one of your great employees, don't burn them out. Work with them. If you have a great employee, work with them. Give them a work balance, man. Burned out people, no good. If they can't take care of themselves first, they're no good to that company. And when you start burning people out, it people want to leave. They don't want to come back. If you're giving overtime and you're making it mandatory, make it reasonable. Don't make them work the same Friday over and over and over, and the same Saturday over and over and over. And then when they say, hey, man, I've worked the last 6 Saturdays or 6 Fridays in a row, and you don't give them off, and you say, well, I really need you, well, eventually you're just going to burn them out the door. Lack of recognition. That kind of comes back to poor management and limited career management. But if you have a hard employee and they're working hard and you don't recognize it, a simple man, you do amazing work, goes a long way. Just telling that employee how good they do, it just goes a long way. Give them motivation. Tell them how good they're doing. Tell them how much you appreciate them doing. If you are the company that can actually do stuff for your employee, like buy them stuff, gift cards, or take them out to eat or stuff like that, please do it. Just let that employee know they are doing a great job. Next would be toxic work culture. Gossip. Don't gossip. I mean, everybody gossips to a certain point, but if you're one of those people who hears a rumor that got twisted 100 different ways in less than 5 minutes, go back to that source and find out who the fuck started that. Because, that gossip could be the matter of life or death for somebody. Somebody could be going through a divorce or lost a child or lost a husband or a wife or a parent. And they could be going through a hard time. That one piece of gossip could make that person over the edge. And if you're in management and you hear gossip, put it to a stop immediately. Get the facts straight. Tell them it's none of their damn business and move forward. And if it's one of those people that just can't help themselves, they just love the drama and they want to just keep it going, and it's tearing down your workplace, you start by writing them up. You start by taking action. And if after so many write-ups and it's still not getting done, it's time to walk that person out the door. And then, last but not least, lack of flexibility. Not offering options like remote work or flexible hours can be deterrent for employees. They'll start seeking work elsewhere. And it starts making it difficult for employees. So the next question is, what can companies do to improve their employee retention? Well, come to about 6 options that I found so far. Competitive compensation. Take some time on a regular basis, maybe it be weekly, monthly, quarterly. Review and adjust people's salaries. Look at their salaries. Look at your best people, how well they're doing. Watch how much product they're doing. Look at their hard work, their attendance. And I'll take it all into consideration, and let's see if there's some way we can improve that employee for better for the company and for them. It goes a long way. Give career development opportunities. Providing proper training. So many times do I see people just because they need that body at work, they don't give them the proper training, and they put them on this job that they have no clue what they're doing, or they got a trainer that just doesn't want to be there and half-ass trains them. And that can lead to a lot of problems. It can turn into an employee not knowing the job and the job not getting done right. And the product having to be fixed or redone, or going to that customer and the customer complaining because it wasn't done to their standards and it was just a messy job. 2, it can lead to accidents. It can lead to people getting hurt if they don't properly know how to operate that machine right. It can turn into machine failure, not operating the machine right and the machine breaking down, and then it costs more money for the company to fix and labor costs and parts for that machine. And then if somebody gets hurt and they go to the hospital, yes, there's insurance involved, but it still sends, it gets OSHA involved and it gets accident teams involved, and it does end up costing a lot of money when the hospital bills are coming. It's just not worth an accident. It's not worth a machine breaking down or anything like that. Have mentorship programs. Take some of your best people and look at the teams that are struggling. take a mentor and put them in that position and mentor somebody to get to greatness. See if we can find a way to bring the people up to the standards that they're supposed to be at, that we expect them to be at. And mentorship can go a long way too, because sometimes being a mentor, they can see something in an employee that somebody else doesn't, and might say, "Hey, you might be a better fit right here or right there or elsewhere," and give clear career progression paths. Give people the opportunity to grow. It's that simple. Create a positive work culture. Have a supportive and inclusive environment with open communication and respect. Be very open with your employees, and I said this earlier. Have great communication with your employees. Honest, respect, and seriously, respect your employees. If you see them doing a good job, tell them you're doing a good job. If you see them struggling or just straight up being lazy, say, "Look, man," don't go up to them and say, "You're fucking lazy," even though you want to. And I've been known to say that myself, and I don't always agree with myself after I think about things. And it's true. We're all human, but at the same time, it doesn't make it right. Go up to that person. Is there something going on? Is there some way we can help? Hey, we're really struggling. Because there's a reason that you're not up to par like you normally are. I mean, keep track of stuff like that. And give work balance initiatives. Promote a healthy work life. Promote a healthy work life through flexible schedules. I mean, be reasonable with people. And when I mean be reasonable with people, I mean they got doctors, places they got to go. If they have to go leave work because their kid got sick at school, or they're sick and they can't make it. And I know what people are thinking. Spanky, think about this here. This goes two ways, and it does. On one hand, people can take advantage of that. And those people that take advantage of the system, usually that the employees that take advantage of the system, that are calling in sick all the time or burning up their PTO, those are the ones that usually work themselves out. Usually those are the people, they don't last very long, and they end up either leaving or they end up getting fired because of their attendance. And that's hard too, because it does hurt other team members that are on the floor, because now they just got to pick up the slack. But again, that comes back to being straightforward with your employees. I understand some things you just can't go into detail on, but be like, hey, go up to your employees. This person got let go. It's going to be stressful. Do you have any ideas that can help this company? Do you have any ideas that can help us produce production without stressing people out? Give decent vacation time. Be respectful of vacation. Give proper vacation time, and be realistic with the vacation time. But as an employee, if somebody has seniority, that has to come first. Seniority always comes first. I'm sorry, people. That's just the way it is. If somebody's been there for 37 years, they deserve that, and they put the vacation, and that should come first. If everybody else has their vacation and nobody else uses vacation in that spot and you use it, more power to you, then the manager should give you off. Okay? And come up with a policy that supports personal needs. Doctors leave, FMLA. If you have FMLA, I highly encourage you to use that. I highly encourage employees to use that. And I highly encourage that HR and managers explain to employees, hey, I understand you're going through a rough time, whether it be death, sickness, or what am I looking for here? Death, sickness, or just not having childcare or going through divorce. And give them, hey, here's these programs that we have through work that we can help with you. And assure the employee that, hey, if you need the time off, we can work with you to give your time off. But as an employee, as long as you're being honest and straightforward with your employer, then it should work out. Okay, it should be a two-way street. Regularly acknowledge and reward your employees. If you have employees that are doing great and outstanding, and you see the work that they're always offering to help out anywhere, they're always willing to do their job without complaining, acknowledge that. Acknowledge that employee. That will keep them in the door. Giving them regular reviews, giving them regularly supportive words. Sometimes you just can't give them the pay raise because you just don't have the budget. But when you do have the budget, and if it does come up, more power. I mean, make sure that you just acknowledge how good those employees are doing. If an employee hears how bad they're doing all the time or how bad the company's going all the time, that's not going to want to keep them in the door. I mean, actions speak much louder than words. So when you tell your employees, hey, we got this coming, we got this incentive coming, we got these machines coming, we have good things coming. If you keep giving promises like that and it never comes through and nothing ends up actually being followed through, they're not going to believe you. And how can they trust you? They're not going to stay. When they hear the same bullshit day in and day out and they just never see any action, they're going to leave. So if you're going to give promises to these people or you're going to tell them you're going to do something, God damn it, make sure you do it. And make sure your managers have effective leadership skills. Make sure your managers are trained the way you want them to be trained. And give them the leadership skills to give them the positive workplace. Give them the leadership skills on how to deal with every situation. Well, it be from production to pay raises to making sure the people on the floor are happy. Make sure gossip is at a halt at all times. Make sure you're not a pile driver manager though either. Don't make sure you're not one of those guys. Come on, let's go. Why are we fucking waiting for? Let's move. Because you do that too many times, they're not going to want to do it either. Okay, it's that simple. But as a head manager, as a leader, lead from the front. Teach these guys how you expect them to be as leaders. And make sure you're holding your leaders accountable for their actions as well. If they are a bad manager, you make sure you point out their wrongs. Because if you don't point out their wrongs, they're never going to change. If you point out their wrongs and they don't change, and they're on an ego trip, then I think it's time for them to usually move on. And that's just usually how I see it. Now, I know it doesn't usually work that way anymore, and I wish it did, unfortunately. You know, in today's society, it's so much different that I'm learning. There was a time years ago, and it actually really wasn't that long ago, where people loved overtime. You know, people begged to work overtime. And now I am learning that a lot of people want to work less for more. And that doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. But, you know, if you're going to have your employees work overtime, make sure you're not making the same ones work overtime over and over and over and over and burning them out. On the other hand, make sure you got proper people to train on each position so you can rotate the overtime. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people that don't want to step up and do overtime anymore, which is sad. But there are still people that do like to work overtime. Unfortunately, I also see people that want to work overtime and that want to work overtime, and companies take advantage of those people that want to work overtime. So you got to sit down with your employees and meet in the middle. If you have multiple shifts, and if you got multiple shifts, like let's say you got a first and second and third shift, and you got one shift that works real hard, the other shift doesn't, but then the other shift works good, find out what the fuck is going on why that one shift isn't working well. If that one shift is not working out well, find out why. There might be a need to be a leadership change. Maybe that leader needs more training. Maybe not only does the leader need more training, maybe the employees need more training. Or maybe you're one of those leaders that want to be a friend with your employees and don't care what they do because you're too worried about losing friends. If you are one of those leaders that are so worried about losing your friends, then you should not be in that leadership role. And if you are that leader's friend, you should respect that that's your boss at work and friend outside of work, and vice versa. If you are a boss and friends with your employees, you have to separate that outside of work. That has to go two ways. Okay? 2 ways. Okay? And that pretty much sums it up for me. But hold that shift accountable. If you have a shift where, oh hell, second shift didn't do their job, third shift didn't do their job, so why the hell should we? That doesn't work for me, guys. I don't give a shit if one shift's not working good as the other shift. that doesn't give you the right to stop working hard either. That only proves absolutely nothing. Because what happens is the product gets late, it doesn't get to the customer. Also, when it does get late, then you guys are pushing it twice as hard to get it out the door, and when you rush something, mistakes happen. Okay. And in the end, it doesn't work out for everybody. So when you're pushing product off to another shift and shift to another shift to another shift to another shift, eventually it just turns into a battle. Nobody's focusing on the job at hand. I know it's hard to do. I know some people are sitting here probably listening and saying, hey, easier said than done. I understand that. But it takes a family. It takes a community to bring people together. And it's not an easy thing to do. Okay? So that's pretty much my speech on employee rights and employee ideas and company ideas and all that happy bullshit. Now I want to change the subject a little bit. Let me take a drink here. So I kind of want to talk about addiction. And mainly with veterans with addiction. The veteran population with alcohol and drugs is at all-time problematic ways right now. It is so the addiction rate is so high right now for veterans. And myself, I'm an alcoholic. And I'm not afraid to say I'm an alcoholic. I have bad PTSD. Sometimes I have chronic pain. I also have multiple sclerosis. But I want to throw something out there for people because, on average, there's over 65% of veterans every day, men and women, that are addicted to drugs and alcohol because of the wars. And nearly more than 80% abuse alcohol, more than 27% use painkillers and other street illicit drugs, and about 7%, which is use both alcohol and illegal drugs. And but alcohol is about 65% of the primary choice for veterans to use, and that they see more of that in veterans today, mostly with alcohol. But back in 2008, over 25,000 veterans between the age of 18 and 25 were diagnosed with alcoholism and drug use. And in 2018, over 874,000 veterans aged 26 and older were addicted to drugs and alcohol. So that's a really high use. And the truth is, it is so easy to get caught up in your head. For me, fighting in Iraq and losing my son, and it was so easy for me to get caught up in my own head. And it was so easy, to drink alcohol, to shut it down in my head. The pain, the thoughts, the nightmares. I don't know how many times I used to be so scared to close my eyes because I didn't want to see the dreams. I didn't want to have the thoughts and wake up in sweats and be scared of where I'm at. So many times I see veterans that got injured overseas, and they give them painkillers, and they realize those painkillers not only numbs the pain in their body, but it numbs the pain in their head. And then they get addicted, and then the doctors cut them off, and then they want that drug yet to feel the pain, so they go to something different and better and stronger, and it's usually heroin or methamphetamines because they just don't want to sleep. Now, I've never been one to use heroin or anything like that, but I have been one to drink alcohol to an extent where I would stay drunk on weekends, and I justify it where it was like, okay, I got drunk, but I'm still able to go to work. My bills are still able to get paid. Nobody's in jail. Nobody's getting hurt. Nothing. But the truth is, you're hurting more people than you realize. I can think of so many times of not being there for my kids whether it be for work, and then go be drinking and justifying why I wasn't at that track meet, or justifying I wasn't sitting there at Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner, or because I'd rather be drunk instead. I don't know how many times I'd be out of reality and I would be talking to my kids and being like, when did this happen? And my kids saying, Dad, you were right there. How the hell do you not remember, But, the anxiety is hard. Living with PTSD is not easy. And the hardest thing for me to swallow was saying I needed help. That's hard. A guy like me doesn't ask for help. A guy like me doesn't cry. A guy like me doesn't like to share his feelings. Well, you know what, guys? I can honestly say I have been sober and clean for 1 year and 8 months, and this guy cries. I get mad. I get sad. And, buddy, I still fuck up on a daily basis, but I have learned to live with it. I get the help I need. I do talk to people. Mainly, I talk to people I can trust. There are some people I just absolutely don't just randomly go up to and talk to sometimes. And even on here, I still don't. There's just some things I don't want people to know. But on average, I want to throw it out there, there's over 6,139 soldiers that commit suicide every year. Every year. That is a lot. I mean, that's over 43% of people that are veterans that die every year. There are more soldiers that die on the state side than they do at war because they can't live with it. And sometimes it goes deeper than that. Sometimes people have troubled childhoods and they join the military to get away, and then they go to war, and then all of a sudden they get out of the military, and then the childhood gets in with their military life, and it all comes together, and it all explodes, and they don't know where to go. But I want people to understand there are people out there that are willing to help. Now, I am one of those soldiers that likes to walk in to a sheriff's office and say, well, have you ever served this country? And if they say no, I'm one of those guys, and shut the hell up, because everything you read is out of a book. You can't possibly understand anything I'm going through. But there are VA doctors that have served and have gone overseas. And I'm fortunate now that I have a doctor who's a veteran. He does understand where I'm coming from. And he doesn't push meds on me. I am proud to say that I don't have the perfect relationship with my family because of my drinking, but it's coming together. I can honestly say I still make mistakes, but I'm okay with those mistakes. A year and 8 months ago, I tried to commit suicide, and it was the dumbest, stupidest thing I ever did. I felt hopeless. I felt like I got nothing anymore. I'm not a leader anymore. I didn't feel like a dad anymore. I felt like my kids were so much better off without me in the picture. And nowadays, I try to fix all that, and I'm trying to work on that. As a recovering alcoholic, I will never say I'm recovered because the thought of drinking will always be there. It doesn't mean I have to act on it. But what I will say is my job today, my purpose in life today, is to help people struggling. I will never promise things to people that I can't accomplish. But what I can promise is I'll do the best I can to help people that need the help. When it comes to being a boss, an employee, a manager, or whatever position I'm in, an owner of a company or whatever, I'm not perfect. I will make mistakes. But what I will do is I will try to take the time to understand everybody's situation, what everybody's in, and I will try my best to make the best for each and every employee that works under me or with me. If you are struggling at all with anything, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, heroin, meth, Vicodin, oxycodone, anything like that, if you are thinking about committing suicide, pick up that phone. If you're seeing this broadcast, message me on Facebook. I will give you my personal phone number in the messenger if you need to talk. I'm always open, and if I don't have time at the moment, I will be sure to call you back and talk to you. It's not easy doing it alone. I get it. It is not easy. Again, I'm gonna try to brief this up now. I've been speeching up long enough. To my family, my kids, and to all my friends and community out there, Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Please be safe. If you're out drinking, please get a designated driver. And if no one has told you they loved you today, I love you. And if you are with your family today, look next to them and give them a hug. Tell them you love them. Tell your children that you love them. To my son, Adam, if you're watching this, son, I love you. I'm proud of you. You're an amazing kid. I wish I could tell you that every day. I'm proud of the man you have turned out to be. And my son, Aaron, I'm proud of you as well. You're growing out to be a great young man, and my daughter, Jaden. Sweetheart, you are a feisty little shit, but you are growing up to be an amazing young lady. All right, everybody, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you all soon.